This is Rumi. Rumi was once asked, is there a way into the divine realm here on earth? He replied, yes, there is a door between this world and the divine within. For every person, its size is subtly different, for it has the shape each person makes when on their knees. No one enters the rose garden unless lost in adoration and wonder. No one walks through that door except on their knees.
Wow.
This is an interesting one from Baba. Clean your heart completely. Not a stain, no desires, not even desire for God realization, and just be conscious. I'll read that again. Clean your heart completely. Not a stain, no desires, not even a desire for God realization, and just be conscious.
Easier said than done.
Yeah, here it is. Tomorrow you say you'll set out for your true self. This is Rumi again. Fool, dive today from the cliff of what you know into what you can never know. You fear the rocks below? Better men and women have died on them. Dying on love's rocks is nobler than a life of hesitancy. I'll read that one again. This is Rumi. Tomorrow you say you'll set out for your true self. Fool, dive today from the cliff of what you know into what you can never know. You fear the rocks below? Better men and women have died on them. Dying on love's rocks is nobler than a life of hesitancy. This is Baba here. This much is certain, that the truth is infinitely more anxious to reveal itself through you and through everyone than you're seeking it with utmost efforts. This much is certain, that the truth is infinitely more anxious to reveal itself through you and through everyone than you're seeking it with utmost efforts. We think, the truth is just kind of back there, just kind of waiting for us to come around. But actually, this is the thing that Kitty found with Baba, that Baba was actually more interested in uniting with them than they were uniting with him. She was very surprised, because her sense of Christianity was Jesus is there, and then you make all these efforts to unite with him, but he's kind of there, like passive. But she found Baba was actively trying to connect with them and unite with them more than they were longing to unite with him, if you can imagine that. Here's one last one. If you were to be united with him only after the extinction of your vices and the effacement of your pretensions, you would never be united with him. Instead, when he wants to unite you to himself, he covers your attribute with his attribute and hides your quality with his quality. And thus he unites you to himself by virtue of what comes from him to you, not by virtue of what goes from you to him. So, how's that Cliff doing? I see that Cliff just, pondering, like a philosopher or something, right here in Myrtle Beach.
I'm just over here drooling, Jeff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, good to see you. And
You.
any anyone have like something to share or any quotes or anything?
You know, I wish I did this from a computer. I'm doing it from an iPad. I can't look up stuff on my computer as I'm doing it.
Uh-huh.
But I have this quote about control from Mir Baba. Keep your mind quiet, steady and firm. Do not submit to desires, but try to control them. One who cannot restrain his tongue cannot restrain his mind. One who cannot restrain his mind cannot restrain his action. One who cannot restrain his actions cannot restrain himself. And one who cannot restrain himself cannot attain his real infinite self.
Beautiful.
Life at its best.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff.
Yes.
Yeah, just you read that quote, and I just wanted to tell that my father asked Baba once that that was in 1955, that he wants God realization. And then Baba said, I am more eager to give you God realization, but baby cannot be delivered before 9 months. It has to get matured and then only be delivered. So when the right when the right time comes, then only you get, when you're matured. God is right there waiting for you, and the instant you're qualified, you get the realization. Yeah, what's le haq hoga? वह खुद ही को when you lose yourself, you get the uh, khuda.
Kuda, God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else about your father from that? That was the 55 Sahavas?
Yeah, actually, in the presence of Baba, he used to get into ecstasy because his presence was so divine, and he used to lose his senses. And then Baba used to tell him, don't lose your senses, don't make a show of your love to outside. Just keep within you. Let nobody knows it. Otherwise, it is an insult. It's an insult, because he used to get experiences of like light and music and things like that.
Mhm.
So Baba wanted him to contain everything within himself and not to make a show like
Yeah.
that. So that's the message, because
Yeah.
once you get a little thing and you like to make a means show, so it is better to contain all these things within you, that love within yourself. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the message.
Yeah. A lot of those old mandali were able to contain a tremendous amount of love,
Yeah,
yet be very relaxed and casual about it, you know?
yeah. Like you said, that they were so normal people, like you were expecting something like some great attributes, and no, they were so so human, so
Yeah.
human.
Yeah.
And that's a wonderful thing. Yeah.
Yeah. You might say divinely human.
Divinely human.
You know what I was thinking? I had a thought. I mean, I don't know if this would be interesting to you folks, but I was thinking of take, I mean, just because it occurred to me today, what are some of the antidotes that people, well, one of the curses of the Baba people is critical, there are a number of them, but one of them is criticalness of others, judgmental, you know, being judgmental of others. So what I was thinking, what are some of the methods or antidotes that you have that you use to kind of overcome criticalness? I mean, I just give you my own example. I grew up in the Northwest, which is very wholesome, very very wholesome personal life. People were loving and friendly and everything. And then I went to college in New York City, and boy, I saw a completely different. I mean, the impersonalness and the rushing and the indifference and everything was very hard for me to, you know, to witness this and not react. And I mean, Bob eventually came along and helped me out. But anyway, I'm just saying that it's something there that I'm sure all of you have had to deal with. So anybody have any tricks that they have used?
I've been interested lately, some through the circle of friends. We did a few of these Byron Katie workshops.
Mhm.
Uh, I often, you know, if I'm thinking something about somebody or a situation with someone I work with or a personal relationship or just observing something, that, you know, there's my stuff, there's their stuff, and there's God's stuff. So I try not to spend too much time thinking about their stuff. It just makes it kind of simple. Okay,
Yeah.
that's just the way that person is, or that person's doing this or doing that. And just try to just not focus on it and let people be the way they are and worry about my own things. Um, so I just find that helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. So where you kind of keep your attention on yourself and don't go way off with an attitude toward the other person, but you kind of,
Yep.
yeah, Baba said that you eventually develop an attitude of live and let live,
Yeah.
you know, up to a certain point. I mean, if somebody's like, you know, really doing something cruel or dangerous, you know, we have to move into action. But the most part, oh, go ahead,
Um,
Catherine.
well, this is, I'll tell you a little bit about how I've dealt with the judgment thing and which, you know, you all know that in Christianity is a big one, you know, thou shalt not judge. and but with Baba's teachings and in my understanding of the whole duality of the good and bad, I mean, judgment, the point that I got about why we shouldn't judge is because then we enforce the duality. Because what do we judge? We judge if somebody's good or if they're bad, or we make comments that way. So I suppose the way I look at it is that I don't judge in a negative way, and I try not to judge in a positive way, you know. So it's like I keep it neutral, in a non-dual sense, that because the other part of that for me is that if we judge somebody to be good, then in you know, and a lot of times I find that within like the Christian community or some judgment that they, you know, certain things are considered good, and so then if you're not doing those things you're bad, you know. And so then there's all kinds of sins or whatever that people are supposed to live up to, that if you don't, then you're bad. And I don't even see sin as good or bad. So it's like I don't see any of these things as good or bad, or I do my best not to judge it that way. And that helps me with just not judging anything. You know, a little bit.
Yeah, no, very good. I mean, it's amazing what how Baba has awakened a much more tolerant view of our fellow beings. I mean, I just remember one time Mani said, she shared this, that she came home from school and they had asked, you know, the kids in the school, in the classroom, to come up with a prayer, you know. And so she came home and she told her father, Baba's father, I need a prayer. I need a prayer, but it's got to be very short because I'm very busy. You just got to be very quick, so can you give me a prayer? And so he said he would think about it. The next day she comes home from school. Well, Father, did you come up with a prayer for me? And I think the second day he said, no, I'm it's got to be short. It's got to be very short. I'm busy. I have so many things to do. And so I think on the third day, she said, okay, did you have a prayer? And he said, yes. Well, will it take any time? No, it won't take any time at all. What? Give me the prayer. You know what the prayer was?
What?
Never speak ill of anyone. That's the tradition. That's the spirit that Baba grew up in. He really was not critical, more compassionate than critical. I mean, just as a household. BJ, what do you do when you kind of any antidotes for you?
What do you mean exactly?
I mean, for how to deal with criticalness of others.
Well, I have a habit of reacting natural way. But then first instance I react and then I say, oh, what am I doing? I am observing myself. So you mean introspection.
Yeah.
And I do it a lot because I do react and there are weaknesses, lots of weaknesses. But then once it happens, I introspect myself and then say, okay, Baba, I am sorry, and I'll be careful. So like that, like that, it goes on. Yeah. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. So you basically take it to Baba, you take it within to Baba
Yeah.
and your own conscience or whatever, and then you don't actually respond. I mean, you don't react outwardly.
Yeah. Actually what happens, I may think that I am a very good man, very pious man. For example, if I say, well, I don't get scared from lion. But when I go in front of lion, then I know, oh, I get scared actually. Means I even don't know myself what I am. So unless I face that situation, I react, and that's way I get to know. I need a mirror, some kind of mirror that. So the things they show me, when I face them, then I know actually who am I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It brings out
It brings
where you are and whatever internal work you have to do.
Yeah.
What about Prakash? Now, Prakash has never had a critical thought in this entire life, up to this point.
Not true, not true. Oh God, all the time. No, but I sort of tend to be the way Vijay mentioned, that I do react, and I feel bad that I did, and then I turn it down the next time. But of late, I found out one different way, which I can't say I practice all the time, but I said whenever somebody is not doing things the way I expect them to, and I get a bit upset, I started to think that Baba wants to be that way. And it sort of
say that again, Baba, what?
Baba wants to be that way. I mean, behave in a way to irritate me, sort of, from the other person. The other person is doing things which I don't like. I could react. I probably do react, but then I started to practice this way of looking at things, wherein I say, Baba wants to be that way. through that person. So it's not that I've been doing all the time, but there is some recent thing that happened to me, and I was hoping that will work. Because that way, in a way, I think if I still react, which I do, I can't stop myself many a time. And I do introspect, like Vijay mentioned. And then I felt that I need a whole lot of patience, and hell a lot of tolerance. So I keep praying to Baba to give me those two in abundance, so I can just move on and then let everybody be the way they are, and I'll be the way I am. And hopefully I'll not put people into various bins, good and bad. And it's a continuous thing. It just never stops. But that's what I do.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, that you're not reacting to your reaction.
I try not to. I mean, I do, but then I give myself some room to think about it, and hopefully do less of it as time goes by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, we should ask Betty here.
Good. I was just going to say, I read recently, you read my mind, in two little stories in one in the Awakener anyway, about instances where somebody stole something. I think it was Eric. Somebody a pickpocket reached into his pocket and stole some money, and Eric was just ready to slap him when Baba came up behind and stopped him, and he said, he must really have needed it to take that money. And he spoke to the man, and the man was repentant, and it was resolved nicely. But it made me realize, I don't know, it's a new level of understanding where somebody's coming from. To a lot of people are driven to desperate things, just kind of out of a hopeless feeling. I don't know. It was. I can't explain exactly, but it just brought me to a new level of understanding people who have difficulties. Yeah.
There's a line from one of the Christian saints. I don't know if it's Augustine or what, where it said, if you loved, let's see. If you loved all, you would forgive all. If you loved all, you would forgive all.
Yeah.
What about Jacima?
Me, I react when I am at home to close ones. But when I am outside, I don't react. I think basically it is out of fear. They might do something, or it's a kind of patience. But and I have patience. I don't react immediately most of the time, and I wait. Sometimes it builds up, and finally, there I have a chance, like where I have a comfortable position, then I would react. I mean, that's how but mostly I don't react immediately.
This is when you're outside, but you say
outside.
in your house
inside,
you have a little more freedom.
With
the consequences aren't as dire, right?
Right. Yes. It's like.
Oh, go ahead, Kathy.
Well, I was going to say too that, the mind is so critical. I mean, I can just my thoughts are just constantly this or that or whatever. And so, and it, about my own self. So that's the other part of it. It's not only just something that you're reacting to someone else, but that just within your own mind or my mind, just oh, I didn't do that right. Or, I mean, it's just, it's constant kind of little things. And I suppose that gets better with time and practice of trying not to judge, but certainly not showing it outwardly as a first step in, getting that under control.
Yeah, it's a whole lifetime of a project. We got Cliff. Cliff, you
I mean, in general, it's often a trigger, us being concerned about other people's behavior. It's a sign often that we need to act inwardly. It's something really to do with ourselves. And if we're really completely comfortable with ourselves and less judgmental of ourselves,
yeah.
we're much less apt to be worrying too much about what other people do and say. I find.
Yeah, good, excellent. Yeah,
Hey, Jeff, I missed one thing.
yeah,
As you all know, as we all know, it's a bunch of things that come to help you in this process of not judging. And one of the things I found was I just keep silent. I just try to literally not say a word. Try to either remove myself from the place, literally, and move away. And my mind is agitated. And but then just getting myself out of the place where I can blurt out sometimes did help. And the other thing I did, when I have thoughts wherein I tend to be negative and judging people without anybody around, this is just a mental process. Then these thoughts keep coming and then bothering me. And then many a time I try to bring Baba and then take his name simply. And that does soothe things down a bit. So, see, it's so dynamic, this particular thing. There are 100 different, million ways of trying to handle this. So
yeah.
I think everybody has to come up with his own natural technique to help reduce this. Yeah.
I'll tell you, this is this coming at it in a completely different way. When Darwin and Jean would come to the center, but Jean would come first, and then about a month later, Darwin would come. And I would pick up Jean at the airport, Jean Shaw, and take her to the guest house. She would be there for a month. But, she was like a real complainer, and so we got there and she wanted to go out for lunch. And so during the lunch, she's talking about the plane, and it was cold. The seat was uncomfortable, and now the food wasn't good, and we were eating and everything. She was like just complaining away. And I looked over at her at one point, and I saw that it is really Baba playing the role of Jean Shaw. It was hilarious. Baba playing this kind of complaining older lady that was Baba. I actually saw that this was really Baba. And after that, I had no problem with Jean ever again. Really, it took that completely away. But the reason I say this is that sometimes if you can see that these people are Baba in disguise, and that you're really dealing with Baba, and it's not this, it's not some separate person that Baba's somewhere else and this person is right in front of you. That is Baba right in front of you, acting like a jerk, or acting, insensitively, that's another way of kind of accepting. And then in that acceptance, you connect with love with them. there isn't if that's Baba playing that part, it's a lot more acceptable to me than if this person is completely independent. So, I mean, these are things that kind of work in over time. I wish I could do that, but more and more that happens.
Yeah.
You know, it really is. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, then beautifully, Miss Jeff, you have said, because when we observe Mandali with Baba and their days with Baba, it was really tough. When you see, they wanted to commit suicide, and how they Baba was really kind of working on them, thrashing them every day-to-day life. And
Grinding 'em.
yeah, winding them, grinding them.
Yeah.
And then I thought, if I would have been Mandali and there, I was not able to stand that. My God. So that way, then I say, okay, Baba, because everyone asks, oh, how do I love Baba? How do I pray him like that? So what I take it every day-to-day life, the things which happen with me, like since morning with your family members, with your friends, the thing occurs in your daily life. That is Baba, because you have to deal with every day and the acceptance of life, every day-to-day life. And that is living with Baba. So I say, okay, Baba, you're doing to me. Your wife grinds you. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Baba, it's you. You, Baba.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Very beautifully said, Vijay.
Yeah.
You know, you are given this kind of son and this kind of people around you. And this is a beautiful lesson that we need to learn every minute.
Oh,
I
yeah.
guess
Everyone.
that's the reason why they are there with us.
Sure.
And it's not easy, though I said what I just said. And but it's a beautiful thing that Baba helps us. This is a great way he helps us.
Yeah.
We got Cliff again. Yeah.
I often find once we have that thought, that so much internally we have this thought about something, and then the next thing you know, Baba's putting us in the situation that we know Baba is doing it, and it's just a constant back and forth, experience for me. So I find that if I just try to stay open and not judgmental and realize, let's say, for example, in astrology, you think, oh, I'm not compatible with this person. Like, Jeff was saying how Gene might have been a difficult person for him in some ways. If we think, oh, this person is difficult for me, that certainly doesn't help. And the reality is that everybody is the way they are. And but as soon as I start to think that, oh, I know how to do this and I have it figured out, Baba immediately puts me in another situation. I wish I could think of some things, but it's a kind of a daily thing. Baba puts me in a situation where, oh, all of a sudden, oh yeah, you thought so? Well, here you go. And so, and then we just realize that that Baba's in control, and Baba is that person, and he is yourself, and it doesn't really matter, and you just have to let go of these attitudes. So, yeah.
And yeah, Kathy.
Well, I was going to go back to what you were saying about Baba acting like Gene, and
As
it
Gene,
really as Gene, but
yeah.
Right. But it reminded me of, because later in life, I really got into acting on with the community theater. And so the parts, it really helped me understand and see how, I think it's a Shakespearean quote that, all the world's a stage and we are just players upon the stage. And many of the parts that I got were so different from who I was. And yet, you know, and even within a community play, people would kind of sense that I was like the character. And I'm like, really, I'm not like that, you know, but the idea of it being that we're all acting our parts here, you know, and so that helps too. And just sort of letting it, it's like when you watch a movie or whatever, when you watch actors, you realize that that's not what the actor really is, you know, behind the scenes.
Yeah. All these really help. I mean, you know, and one thing that's helped me is, I guess, a kind of a growing understanding that people don't have a choice to be in the moment. They don't have a choice to be the way I wanted them to be. That this is the way they've chosen to be in this moment. Is, you know, if I say, oh, they didn't have to do that, well, that's not true. They had to do that in that moment. Maybe, you know, tomorrow they may change their behavior, but it's like one of the things that we feel critical is like they didn't have to act that way. Well, I mean, I kind of feel like they can't help but act the way they did in that moment. And I may not, I mean, it may be disturbing to my emotionality, but I can't project onto them that they shouldn't have acted that way. There's a certain inevitability. And then what happens sometimes is I can, people will behave the way I kind of expect them to. And so I kind of accept that that's the way they behave. It may not be what I would care that I'd like them to behave differently, but I can tell that that's the way someone who has that kind of makeup is going to act that way. So I have to accept it. I can't say, well, hey, you shouldn't be acting that way. You shouldn't be like, you know, Cliff, you know, banging on everything all the time and putting rhythms in everything. You should have some control.
I feel attacked right now, personally. I'm glad there's witnesses here.
So let's, what about Mayor Prasad? What do you think?
I may have missed the context, but are we
Well,
talking?
we're talking about how to deal with critical thoughts of others, judgmentalness of others. And whatever kind of methods or antidotes and everything we've come up with for, you know, resolving these things or approaching these things so you don't get caught up and bound.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, for me, Baba's words are the best weapon in every situation. I try to remember Baba's quotes, like one of the most favorite ones is, loving those whom you cannot hate is natural, but to love those whom you cannot love is to love me as I should be loved.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful quote that I always try to remember. So
Yeah.
if I have some reaction to somebody, first I try to remember that it's Baba in them. So I try to really focus my mind around that, and then I remember this quote. And then there is a bunch of quotes that I always go back to refer. There is another one that says that, remember in the future that if anyone hurts you, it is I who hurt you. If anyone is laughing at you, it is I who is laughing at you, and so on.
Yeah.
So I refer to those quotes, but I try to stay away from. I'm very sensitive to hurting other people, so I try to really make sure that to the extent possible I don't hurt other people, whether it's in my family or outside my family and so on. But sometimes that happen, and then I go back and try to remember all that Baba said.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. And sometimes apologizing helps, you know,
Yeah,
when
that
you
doesn't
have,
come, that
huh?
doesn't come to me. That doesn't come to me naturally,
Yeah,
apologizing to people.
yeah.
So I try to avoid getting into the situation where I have to apologize.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this the other day that a buddy of mine had he always had a bad temper, a short fuse. And he went to Erich and told him that I blow up at people. I can't, sometimes I get, I get kind of cornered and I blow up. And Erich said, well, given that that happens, then see that you apologize for it. And the humiliation of having to apologize kind of mitigates just how 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 much you blast, it keeps you from just uh, uh, being uninhibited in your anger, you know you because you're going to have to go and apologize. And that helped, that actually helped him immensely, because he knew he couldn't go too far, uh, because he was going to have to like apologize, and that prospect is not the most comfortable thing, because when you go to apologize, they may lay into you. It's a pretty vulnerable state.
Jeff, I mean, I've seen this. The words themselves are very difficult to come out, particularly when you have to apologize and say sorry. But I've seen people, and at times me too, adopt different ways to please them. I mean, instead of trying to say the words literally, which
Yeah.
apparently is the most difficult thing to do, but then they try to please other people by doing little things, I mean,
Yeah.
you give them coffee when, normally you don't do, or
Yeah.
do other things. So,
Yeah. Make up for it somehow.
yeah,
Yeah.
make up for it. But I think that the real strength, courage is in actually using the words and being sorry from within and expressing the same, which is the most difficult actually.
Yeah, but let's see what Marcia has to say over there, or is she just kind of nodding off? Ah. Aha.
When I start thinking about something that's critical, like about somebody, I kind of just stop myself and I just put the thought away. I just don't think about it. And I just try to be patient. You know.
Yeah. No, I'm convinced that Bob is very happy about all these efforts that we make. It's because we have these cherished values that we grew up with, and then we go out in the world and they get violated by some people, and it hurts. I mean, it can hurt. So, we have to do the best we can, with not reacting negatively back. But here's the one thing that then we're going to get Betty again. Here's one of the things is that there's kind of a hardcore criticalness, and then there's a superficial criticalness. The hardcore criticalness is much more troublesome. Requires a lot more work. You can kind of get irritated with somebody and it's kind of on a surface, but when you have it out for somebody, you don't like that person, they happen to be of a different political party or something like that. I mean, things that are deeper, those, and Baba throws us in with someone who has a whole different approach. that we may feel is, yeah, go ahead, Cliff.
So Baba gives us so many ways of dealing with everything. It's just a matter of remembering those things in the situation. But I find that, especially when I was younger, being somewhat emotional person, taking things personally way too often was a big cause of my own suffering. And so, it really, so many things are, we take things personally, or I find for myself, speaking for myself, which really isn't that much of a personal thing often. And it's our own cause for suffering where we're making much more out of something than what really is happening often, or, things like that. We get, once the emotions get involved, even a little bit, depending on how emotional we get, it heightens our illusion that we're living in about, how horrible and awful this person is, or what they did, or what they think, or whatever. And, often it's really not so bad, I find personally.
Yeah.
Especially looking back on things that I thought were worse than they were, or whatever.
Yeah. No, it's Jacima, did you just raise your hand or?
No, Betty was leaving. She
Oh,
was
yeah.
raising hand. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I wonder if Piam never has anything critical thoughts. I know that.
Really?
She's in
Oh,
a workplace where you're in a workplace where you're confronted with this type of stuff.
Yeah, I'm confronted with it everywhere. And I mean, talk about critical thoughts, judgments with, even my husband, Glenn, one of us is more tidy than the other one. And we like I like my thing certain place. He likes it another way. So Baba's constantly testing me, I tell you. It's a daily effort. In work, part of my job is to evaluate and give feedback. So, I have to always be thinking. I start writing the email. I think I've mentioned this before. And then I sit with it. I was like, wait, let me go back and put something positive. And then just, being reflective, like everyone is saying. And sometimes I'll say something and then I regret it. And then I have to go back and, repair it somehow, apologize or write an email. I hope I didn't offend anyone by saying that. So I think it was in Darwin, Effort and Grace, we were reading, becoming more and more self-aware. And really, I'm starting to see the more I accept my own weaknesses, the more I seem to be able to accept other people's weaknesses.
Yeah.
And, I've been married now, gosh, I'm losing track, 18, 19 years. And Baba has really worked on that with me in just accepting, my husband's good qualities and his weaknesses and not getting so triggered. I'm still triggered, but it's it's not sitting with me for days on end. I
Yeah.
get over it at least more easily.
It's
Yeah.
like more in the mind. It's not really heart deep.
Yes.
It's more kind of more of an irritant up here, but it's not really heart deep where it changes your attitude.
Yes.
I mean where you brood on it over time. Right? I mean,
Yes. And then with other people, I'm starting, I work with children. And so I almost like my coworkers, and they're younger. So I start thinking of them as, they're childlike in this way or childish, let's say. And just like a parent would be more accepting of their children's, weaknesses and challenges is, at least I'm working on it. With Baba, like everyone was saying, has so many wonderful ways of helping us through his messages. And, Zoom sessions like this, and it's just being reminded constantly, like, oh yes, Baba said that, or think of him when it's not easy in the moment, but I feel I can always go back and repair it somehow.
Yeah. No, beautiful.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, because I mean, some of us are more emotional and react, but it doesn't necessarily have to be, isn't necessarily a deep thing. It's just, some people are just more sensitive to the environment and they get upset by noises or, whatever. And other
Yes.
people are just, it doesn't hit them quite as, but yeah. But I do feel like a lot of the Baba people have worked out of their system negative attitudes, kind of heartfelt negative attitudes. I think Baba has driven a lot of that out of us as years go by. Now I wonder about Elowen. I mean, does she ever get critical of her brothers and mom and dad? Ha.
It's in her name, Jeff.
What's that?
It's in her name. She's awesome.
Yeah. But she did, doesn't awesome have a AWESOME? Yeah. Let's see. Let's find out what he does.
Only listening and
What?
enjoying.
Uh-huh.
Listening your talks and enjoying, because I feel myself far behind you people, so I cannot converse so fluently and so nicely.
Well, no, we're all on the same boat. We're all.
But some boats are moving at a low speed and far behind. So I feel myself one of them.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
You will not say, but I.
Oh, I should read something. You might find this interesting, Sham, if I can find it. Oh, wait.
Right.
It's on my other computer. Well, I'll try to describe it. I was at the center at Baba's house, and I was raking. This is quite many years ago. It was a nice sunny day. I was raking right out near the entrance, the screen porch of Baba's house here in Myrtle Beach. And I wasn't thinking of anything particular, and Baba flashed this to me with a sense of humor. And I get these flashes, and then I know what I can translate it into English from Baba. Is I don't get necessarily the words, but I know exactly what Baba's saying to me. Anyway, I'm raking away, and this is what Baba says to me. No one can love me the way you do. And there's a pause, and I'm thinking, and then he continues, better than you do. No one can love me the way you do, better than you do, because I'm the only one that loves him this way. I'm net, no one, what can I say? No one can love Baba the way Sham does better than Sham. Because there's no,
Okay.
you have a unique flavor. I'm nutmeg, you're cinnamon, and and VJ is cardamom. In other words, are all absolutely, Baba likes every flavor. So, you know, there's no comparison. No, you know, you have a unique way. Is like, you can't say, oh, I'm way behind you guys. There's no such thing as being behind. You are the one who loves Baba in your way. Matchless.
Thank
It can't.
Thank
And
you.
I'm-
Thank you.
Yeah. So it's not about comparison. But I mean, but way Baba did that. No one can love me the way you do. And I'm thinking, wow, hey, you know, hey, he's building me up better than you do. He added that little phrase there. Oh, Anita's here.
Hi.
So your child is in bed and your husband is
Playing soccer.
playing soccer. Okay.
I missed, sorry, I joined late, but
Yeah.
I was hoping to chat a bit about thoughts and like intrusive thoughts or obsessive thoughts that just, your mind has already kind of opened all those boxes and you're deep into it and you can't get rid of it. And I was just hoping on some guidance with that. Like I've tried with like repeating Baba's name and stuff, but I feel like sometimes my ego gets so involved in it and it wants to get rid of it. And I think it's you've mentioned before, like what you resist persists. So it's almost like a desire of wanting to get rid of the thought, and that works against me, or like I'm trying to get away from my ego, but I can't because I want it. It's like a paradox almost, but I don't know what your
Yeah.
thoughts are on that.
Well, I mean, kind of what I gathered and what I do is thoughts are fed by, I mean, this is my experience. Thoughts are fed by emotions. There is an there's an emotion that's causing the thoughts. Now, but it may not be kind of straightforward and clear what the emotion is. The emotion might be anger, the emotion might be fear, the emotion might be resentment. But if you can go down to the level of the emotion, get down there with your consciousness, not with your mind, but with your awareness, and see if you can locate what the emotion is. And if you get down to the emotion and you give that to Baba, then it'll lessen the thoughts. You know, in other words, if you try to kind of stop thoughts at the level of thought, it's very difficult because the root cause is some emotion.
And
Does that
yeah,
make
it's kind of, I know you mentioned that with the time thing too last week, and I think I've tried that, but I get stuck when so a lot of my thoughts are fear based and anxiety based. So I feel, I've tried, I feel the fear and the anxiety in the moment, and I try to share it with Baba or give it to Baba, but I think I almost get to a point where I want it gone, and because I want it gone, it doesn't go, and it's almost like Baba doesn't, like, we have to be patient with Baba and like let him do it in his own way. You can't just expect the feeling to go away right away, and I think I just don't like feeling that way, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's the best way I know to do it. I mean, but yeah, it's like when you learn the piano, first you have to start with the scales, and then you get into the chords, and then you get into some melodies and some, you know, it's a slow process, but a slow but sure process, you know. But actually, you know, Baba said, if you can just let thoughts come and go and not fight them, you know, but that's, like I say, it's not an easy thing. I mean, because if you can control thoughts, you will have a different life. Because most people are behind a ticker tape of thoughts. They're looking at life through the lens of thought, which is like taking the binoculars and turning them around the other way.
Yeah.
So any way we can get out of thoughts, even I find, now this is this is just my experience, even positive thoughts are more superficial than feeling at a deeper level. But to get at the root of fear can take, I mean, I once spent 4 months just tracking the anxiety in myself. I mean, it's
patient.
I can do tedious things like that, but but then you make peace with anxiety. It becomes a friend.
Yeah.
You're not your favorite friend, a talkative friend, you should say. But yeah, it's, if you can drop your awareness, not your mind, but not your thoughts, but your awareness down into the fear. And in fact, I mean, each of these things gives you an opportunity to face these core emotions and give them to Baba. So say, suppose you have a core emotion of anger that you need to give more of it to Baba. These situations that cause anger are really helping you to, I mean, it's hard to go after anger if you're not feeling, if nothing is provoking it.
Right.
So, they can come down in and get to the core anger. You get another opportunity to give a chunk of it to Baba.
Yeah, I guess if we think of it as, okay, it's just an opportunity to purify the heart more, and we're not as attached to the feeling. It's like, okay.
Yeah, life is really working for us, to make us, rather than irritating us, why is that happening? It can take you deeper into your heart. I mean, that's what I find. So, if I get scared about something, I actually kind of welcome it. Wow, I don't often get scared. Hey, I'm feeling scared. Wow, this gives me an opportunity, to go in at a deeper level and try to give some of that to Baba.
Yeah, so, making it not, so yeah, you're making it not a big deal and actually looking at it from the lens of spirituality rather than the gross world.
Yeah, these things that, you're going along, and if these things kind of drive us into deeper places within ourselves, if we take it that way. Take it, this is Baba said, take it as a blessing or take it as a test. Whatever happens for the best. Those are Baba's words. Take it as a blessing or take it as a test. Whatever happens for the best.
That's awesome.
Yeah. There's awesome right there. Elowen.
Jeff, in Effort and Grace, yes, the couple of days back, you were reading Darwin's self-effacement. He uses the word opportunity also. That really stuck in my head. That he says that the everyday life gives us opportunities to give things to Baba.
Yeah. Yeah, it can provoke or evoke or stimulate the giving to Baba, as we go along. Hey, is this Cindy Blom, Espinoza? From
Hello, J Baba, everyone.
Hey, good. Are you in Colorado or?
I'm in California. So
Yeah,
my daughter just went to bed, and I'm like, whoa, are you guys still awake over there?
yeah, we are. Do you know Anita?
I don't think I know Anita.
Uh-huh.
J
Nice to
Baba.
meet you.
Yeah,
I think it's
she,
all new faces for me here.
yeah,
Well, actually, maybe some of the faces I can't see, I would know.
yeah. Yeah, well, we were talking, what we've been talking about is critical thoughts and how different people have different ways of dealing with critical thoughts. You know, being critical of others. We were kind of talking on that subject. And then Anita brought up the being harassed by thoughts and how to, and trying to get rid of the thoughts, but they keep happening. How to get control of thoughts. So those were two subjects that we got on to. Yeah. How do you weigh in
Wow.
on those?
Wow. Let's see. I mean, I think that besides Baba's name, I haven't figured anything out. I mean, Baba's name's helpful,
Oh yeah.
and when you get to like, actually, I think when I'm really at like the hardest, if I turn on like my favorite Baba video, I think that really just helps me shift, and then it
Yeah.
could start again after that, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. We've been talking about all different ways that, you know, of trying to head off some of these reactions. And most everybody was pretty good about, they react to things, but they have a reaction to things, but then they don't react to their reaction. They kind of wait with Baba, and so they can come up with a response. The response, you know, so there's a little delay, there's a little space there between the reaction and the reaction to the reaction. You know, so that
That's a good idea. Or just to space out the action too, because you know, when I taught high school, the rule was that if a parent emailed you and they were really upset about something, or the email was really charged or negative in some way, that you would wait 24 hours before responding, just to give yourself that space to not let your first reaction be what you actually write to the person.
Yeah, good. Wow. That's pretty smart. I mean, I don't know many school systems that necessarily advocate that.
The tricks of the old
Yeah.
old timers. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. No, so your child, you had a picture of your child.
Yeah.
How old is your child?
She's 4.5.
Yeah. And
anyone else have little ones right now?
Yeah, well, Anita has, but your child's about
He's a year and a half.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fun. Then you get to sing all of the Papa songs or say the prayers
it's so
with
awesome.
them.
He grabs pictures of Baba and he's like, Baba, Baba, Baba. I'm like, he's very his name.
Yeah. When you get to bring them to like a little sahavas and they like see the pictures everywhere, they're like, Baba, Baba, and everyone's like, oh, and it's so sweet.
Yeah, that sometimes happen in Mandalay Hall. I mean, at the meeting place at the center, and you know there'd be a program and everything. And then they put on the movies, and every time Baba would come on the picture, some child in the back would go Baba, 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 you know? And then they'd move the camera, moved to somewhere else, and then Baba would be seen again, Baba, 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 throughout the whole program.
Wow.
Delightful.
Yeah.
You know,
the excitement of seeing him moving after you're used to like the picture, or like even anytime we see the picture that's hanging in her room, I put the little one where Baba's holding the lamb.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever she sees that picture, she's like, oh, that's our Baba, and like that picture in particular, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, someone has said that you know that you have that it's the Christ when young children and older people are spontaneously drawn. That's, you have the Christ. A lot of the perfect masters and saints, they have people of a certain, can I say, well, perfect master gets the whole range of humanity, but the saints and everything, they have more like-minded people, kindred spirits, you know. But you know, with Baba, you get the whole spectrum of humanity is drawn. Well, let's see. Anything else? I mean, Diana's shown up here. What we were talking about is dealing with criticalness of other people. That was one of the topics.
See, I never feel that.
Yeah.
So I decided to incorporate all the critical voices in my own head. So I always have them as a default to go to.
Yeah, we came up with a lot of different methods of kind of diffusing thinking critically of others.
Oh,
yeah.
Of others?
Yeah.
Like as opposed to one against oneself?
Yeah, well, we touched on that a little bit, but the topic was mainly criticalness of others. And, you know, we didn't want to take such a huge topic, you know, we cut it in half.
Do you have any cliff notes for those? I can watch the recording. You don't have
Yeah. No, we, different people chimed in on ways that work for them. And of course, the main theme is that having some time to connect with, having to connect with Baba so that to try to diffuse that, you know, that flood of critical thinking. Just kind of keep bringing it to Baba. Well,
I was going to say, Jeff.
Yeah.
You know, I've had very few critical thoughts during this Baba Zoom, so it's working.
Hey, good. Let's see. What about Dinku? She's in Bombay.
Jai Baba, everyone.
Jai Baba.
Yeah.
Hi.
We've been.
Unfortunately, I missed the critical talk, but I've been listening to your recap of it with others.
What do you have any kind of tricks for us? Antidotes for critical thoughts?
Not really. I know I do tend to have a lot of them going around in my mind many a times. And I try to push them away, but they kind of keep coming back. And then I sort of think, no, Baba wouldn't want me to do that. So I guess that's about it. Just try to push them away.
And kind of think and let Baba kind of diffuse the whole cycle.
Yeah, I asked for his help.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of my problems was I had certain ideals, you know, and so and then and people would violate those ideals. And what I had to do is slowly give up my expectations of others to living up to my ideals. It took me about 20 years to lower my expectations so I could enjoy my fellow Baba lovers. Really, I mean, I set about to do it very gradually. It took me, I'd say, about 20 years where I can really enjoy the Baba lovers, but a lot of my expectations I had to give up of You do see a wide range of behavior in the Baba world. And I had to, had to give up the expectations.
Yeah, and that's a little difficult.
Yeah. Giving up.
I know, giving up your expectations.
Yeah. Especially at close quarters,
Oh, yes.
and in a work
definitely.
situation. Yeah.
I find it's easier to give up expectations of others and like being forgiving to others, but I'm harder on myself, and those self expectations and the self forgiveness. I find that harder.
Yeah.
The ego.
Yeah. I found, Erich kind of got me off of self-improvement. And I over time, I found self-acceptance is closer to where I wanted to be. Self-improvement is kind of endless. And I would say Erich kind of got me off of that. Because I thought, I go on improving, and then I'll be there with Baba and all that. But self-acceptance turned out to be more relaxing, and it's in the present. Go ahead.
You know what that kind of reminds me of? That discourse where Baba talks about the deeper aspects of sadhana. He has got this line that says that when you're engaged in like a sadhana, let's say like loving God, that participation in the practices is partial.
Yeah,
I won't get the right. It's experience. It's like an experience of the part. It's a partial experience of the actual God realization. And so what you're saying kind of reminds me of that, because acceptance goes to the end goal, so that you can, even in just moments or partially, get to actually experience that instead of go on, like you're saying, on and on with improvement.
Yeah, you're kind of, that acceptance is kind of part of where we're going to eventually be. Total acceptance. And you're participating a little bit in a part of the goal. But yeah, self-acceptance, I was kind of hard on myself in the early years with Baba, trying to kind of get myself under control. But yeah, we have to, self-compassion is, I would say, was critical in my life, self-compassion. Yeah.
I've never heard that. I hear self-love, but I've never heard self-compassion.
Yeah.
Like handle oneself with a gentle grip. Very nice.
Yeah. No, it's because we are going to make a lot of mistakes, and we're going to be selfish and unkind in spite of our best efforts. And we have to kind of forgive ourselves, and what about Dinesh? Let's see what Dinesh has to say. If he comes out.
Baba.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think, Dinesh?
I like the Cynthia's statement.
The what?
Wait for a response for 24 hours.
Yeah.
This is the Gurdjieff system. I'm a student of the Gurdjieff school, Gurdjieff Ospansky. So Gurdjieff said that particular thing which he learned from his dying father. He was ninth child of his father, and he was 9-year-old. And his father told him one thing: whenever you don't like anyone's statement or this, you wait for 24 hours. And after waiting for 24 hours, you may come to conclusion that he was right. So you will be thankful in your heart. And suppose you after 24 hours you come to conclusion that he was not right, then he was not right. That's it, over.
That's Gurdjieff, huh?
But difficult to follow.
Yeah.
Sometimes what happens, things are so reactive that we'll see Gurdjieff's system afterwards. Let me do it, one to one, and react. Yeah, sometimes it's difficult, but yes, Gurdjieff says that transformed his whole life. That particular teaching by his father.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, what do you say? I mean, I don't know what time it is. I get these cheap watches and they break. The plastic kind of eventually just falls off. What time is it?
Okay, we're gonna do another GoFundMe.
Oh, no. It's not worth getting I get these cheap watches.
It's 8:27 here. So
so it's 11:30. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
You guys are late night owls over there. 9 o'clock is my bedtime.
Yeah, well, we do it. This is the kind of post arti. So
Cynthia, where are you from? I'm Diane.
Hi, Diane. I'm living in California. I grew up on the East Coast. I'm in between Santa Cruz and San Jose in the mountains.
Yeah, I love that. Off of Highway 17.
That's us.
We're in Venice Beach.
Oh, wonderful. Is that your mom there?
Where? No, that's
I can't see. Oh.
My wife.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you both.
So I'm listening instead of being on camera. It's just
we haven't heard from Terry. She hasn't said anything.
I had a really big day today. I came home a little fried, a little cranky.
Uh-huh.
But Bub is expanding my heart again. Just got a little shut down.
Yeah.
But she had her first hug besides someone that she's related to today.
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow.
A patient of mine, it was really nice.
She took off
my garb and we just hugged.
She cleans teeth. So
yeah.
It was really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I've had some occasions to hug, and boy, it's really something. I mean, it is, I mean, in the time of
so true.
Jesus, the was the handshake, I think. In the time of Muhammad was the kissing on both cheeks, and Baba's kind of medium of exchange is the embrace. And that is much more intimate. It's
I always I don't really even want it to be a hug. If you really want my truth is I want to hold, and I want to be able to take a breath with the person I'm holding. And then that's what really, just a hug it's okay, but I really want to hold. Yeah.
The first Baba meeting I went to, not knowing really much at all about Baba. It's back in my college days in the 60s, and I went to this meeting, the Monday night meeting, and when the elevator door opened, there was this hallway crammed with people, but my impression was all these old ladies initially, and they came up and they introduced themselves and they just hugged us, and passed us from one to the other. It took us a half hour to go 30 feet to get through these ladies. And this is in New York City. This kind of thing doesn't happen. I grew up in Washington State, so this type of thing did happen there. But I've been in New York for quite a while, and that was so endearing because we felt, there were three of us, and we felt like three long lost nephews that had shown up at a family reunion. They were so welcoming, and they're mainly older people. It was really darling.
We have a friend in our life who's, when he was young, when his father dropped his body, and he always would talk about the fact that all these women would come. He was also from New York, but that these women would like come in and feel so bad for him that they were holding him so intensely to their bosom that he was having the best time. And that's what he remembers from that.
Because he was like, what, 14 years
he was
old?
young.
Yeah.
I said, well, that's like an amazing memory. I mean, instead of it being morbid and sad and gloomy,
Yeah.
you know,
It was erotic.
I don't, you know,
No.
it was more nurturing, I think.
Yeah.
That reminds
Beautiful.
me of going to the Hamirpur Mela, and I went with, like 4 or 5 girls, and girls of all ages. So one of my friends, she's in her 70s at the time, and she's going, and after the first time, like the first morning of programs, and like there's the singing, and so everyone disperses, and you do different things, you whatever you do, and then we came back after, and she's just like glowing, and I'm like, well, what did you do? And she's like, I just hugged old ladies the whole time. And she was like, that's the best thing to do here. Just everybody wants to give you a hug. Just hug everyone.
Yeah, and Baba said, if you want to feel my heart, go to Hamirpur. They were the very poor district or area of India, and the most loving people. Oh, they were, I mean, they would come to Amartithi, and they were dirt poor, but they had no pretense. They were just there, full of love.
Well, that's what's so amazing about India for me, is just that spirit, you know, it's just so profound. I mean, I found it everywhere I went there.
Yeah.
It was an amazing experience.
Yeah.
Does anybody know about the fires in Pune?
No, let's see. We have Dinesh is from Pune. Dinesh.
I'm from Mumbai.
Oh, you're from Mumbai. Did you hear?
It's at a
Pune.
It's out.
Oh yeah, Vijay.
Vijay ji,
Yeah.
Jai Baba Vijay ji.
There was fire on MG Road, and near, you've been to Baba House, MG Road.
Yeah.
So if you go further up, there is a cloth market, and one of the Baba lover, he lives there also, Bandeli family. His son is at Mississippi. So the entire market burned into ashes.
They said,
And
they said 500 shops. I just looked.
Yeah.
500 shops.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's small shops. Yeah. It's,
They're more like stalls, like.
yeah. Everything burned.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. So you guys really stay informed here. Hey, well, does someone have a final quote that or a poem or something before we you have something good.
It's a Meher Baba quote.
Yeah.
When mind soars in pursuit of the things conceived in space, it pursues emptiness. But when man dives deep within himself, he experiences the fullness of existence.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, what do you say? We over here we'll go to bed, and some of you are just waking up like Vijay and Dinesh and Dinku. They're just beginning their day. But and Prakash, you stay up 11:30. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes.
Yeah. So I'm going to see if I can get Narshawan Nalavala to share his time with Baba. Not the next time probably, but maybe next Tuesday. I'm going to see if I can get him because he grew up, knowing Baba. Baba's right across the street from him at one time during the New Life. So
Jeff, you were supposed to get somebody else as well.
I tried. I asked him, and I knew that he was shy, and I should have pitched it. I mean, I gave him every out, and but it would be better if I just interviewed him and just asked him questions and he just answered. But I think he might have felt that he had to prepare something.
Okay.
But he's the little guy that you see in the 1956 film, and Baba holds him and he puts a garland around Baba, and Baba tassels his top of his head, and very wonderful. Spends a lot of time with Baba, but he is very shy. It's like, even, yeah, but I'm going to work. I got to lay it out real comfortably for him. Because he first met Baba in 52, and then 56, 58, and 62, and 69. So,
wow.
Yeah. But
What's
I'm
the name?
going to try Nashirwan. But there are very few left who met Baba in this country. Vijay met Baba over there, and we'll get him to share again. He did a very sweet when he was a little kid at Guru Prasad. Maybe we'll get you next time. And then his father was, you read about his father in Lord Meher, Sule, right?
Yeah, Sulu.
Sulu, and
Yeah.
so he had
Sudama. Baba called him Sudama. Baba called him Sudama, Sulu and Sudama. And Sudama was the childhood friend of Lord Krishna. So he gave simile of Sulu and Sudama. So that chapter is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll ask you, and you just you can relate it to us.
Sure.
And then your little mischievous behavior around Guru Prasad.
Yeah.
looking through the window.
Yeah, I will be happy to share whatever Baba I experience.
Yeah.
That I feel my duty also to share with people. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's great. Okay, well, let's have a few moments of silence.
Yeah.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
See you guys.
Baba.
Hey, Baba.
See you.
Yeah.
Jai Baba.
Baba ki jai.
Avatar Meher Baba.
Avatar Meher Baba ki jai.
Jai. You have a good time with Baba. He loves our company. Everybody's company.
Jai Baba. Hello?
Yeah. Good. Much love.